5 football fans have appeared in court charged with offences following trouble at Swansea City's FA Cup clash with Manchester City. The fans faced a range of charges from running onto the pitch to letting off a smoke bomb, and being drunk and disorderly. 3 of the Manchester City fans were slapped with banning orders preventing them from attending any football match for the next 3 years, though the supporter who went onto the pitch is not among them. Swansea Magistrates Court heard all the incidents, which were unrelated, took place at Swansea's Liberty Stadium on March 16 this year when the Swans hosted the Manchester club in the FA Cup. The first defendant appearing in court was 21-year-old Harry Eccles. Linda Baker, prosecuting, said in the 88th minute of the game Manchester City striker Sergio Aguero scored a goal, sealing the visitors' dramatic comeback win, in front of the away fans in the stadium's north stand. Swansea had been 2-0 up. Manchester City's Sergio Aguero scores his side's third goal of the game during the FA Cup quarter-final match at the Liberty Stadium, Swansea. Image, PA, as the City players celebrated Eccles come out of the stand, and joined the on-field celebration. The court heard Eccles was escorted off the pitch by stewards but due to a mix-up was not immediately ejected from the ground, rather he was allowed to return to the stand. The prosecutor said Eccles was later pointed out to police, and was arrested. She applied for a football banning order to be imposed. Eccles, of St Hilary's Drive, Congo, pleaded guilty to going into the playing area at a football match, contrary to the Football Offences Act 1991 when he appeared before Deputy District Judge Simon Morgan. Lee Davies, for Eccles, said the defendant had been due to start a job as a control room operator with North Wales Police at the time of the match, and following his arrest in Swansea had resigned from the role. He said Eccles, whose father is a retired policeman, had apologized to stewards at the game for the incident, and he said the whole experience had been a salutary lesson for the youngster. Harry Eccles outside Swansea Magistrates Court. Image, www.adrianwhitephotography.co.uk. Opposing the banning order, the solicitor characterized the incident as one of over-exuberance and stupidity, rather than violence or disorder. Deputy District Judge Morgan sentenced Eccles to an 18-month conditional discharge, and ordered him to pay £85 towards prosecution costs. Turning to the banning order, he said he had read a reference from the defendant's local Manchester City supporters club which described him as a passionate football fan but one who was honest and considerate, and whose previous behaviour had not caused any concern. He said before he made a football banning order he had to satisfy there were reasonable grounds for believing such an order would avoid disorder or violence at games, and that the present application did not meet that test. The judge refused the application. The next defendant before the court was 18-year-old Ellis Bottomley. Manchester City striker Sergio Aguero celebrates his team's second goal. Image, Harry Trump, Getty Images. The court heard Bottomley became involved in an altercation with stewards when he tried to take a pint of lager from the bar to his seat in the north stand. Ms. Baker said a nearby police officer intervened in the argument, and escorted the teenager out of stand, and into the away fans' compound. The prosecutor said Baker was unsteady on his feet, swearing at the officer, and initially refused to give his name. He was warned about his behavior but continued to swear at the PC, and was eventually arrested. A football banning order was requested. Bottomley, of Raymond Street, Swinton, Salford, pleaded guilty to a Section 5 public order offence. Solicitor Mr. Davies, for Bottomley, said the warehouseman knew he wasn't allowed to take alcohol into the stand but had been drunk at the time. Opposing the banning order, he said his client had been awkward and used choice language but had not been violent. Bottomley was fined £200, and was ordered to pay £85 costs and a £30 victim surcharge. Turning to the banning order, the deputy district judge said stewards and police officers were at matches to ensure order and safety, and he said disorder could spread through a crowd like a Mexican wave if it went unchecked. He imposed a 3-year football banning order. Swansea City's Bertrand Selina celebrates after scoring their second goal against Manchester City. Image, Ollie Scarf, AFP, Getty Images. The third Manchester City fan appearing in court was 32-year-old Joseph Eaton. The prosecutor said Eaton was ejected from the Liberty Stadium because of his behavior, though she said she did not have details of what that behavior was in her file, and could give the court any more details. She said a policeman on duty at the match saw what was happening and went to assist the stewards. Court heard Eaton was actively resisting the stewards, and was being aggressive and abusive towards them. Ms. Baker said the officer put himself between Eaton and the stewards, and took hold of the defendant. The defendant turned his abusive language towards the PC, and was arrested. The prosecutor asked for football banning order to be made. Eaton, Patrush Road, Wythenshawe, Manchester, pleaded guilty to a Section 5 public order offence. The digital marketing manager was fined £200 and was ordered to pay £85 costs and a £30 victim surcharge. John Allchurch, for Eaton, said his client would not oppose the football banning order application, and a 3-year order was granted. Swansea City's Connor Roberts, centre-left, and Manchester City's Leroy Sane. Image, Nick Potts, PA Wire. The fourth defendant before the court was Andrew Peckett. The prosecutor said during the match a police officer on duty in the north stand saw a large amount of blue smoke in the area, and stewards were able to identify the source as Peckett. The 53-year-old was escorted from his seat by stewards, and subsequently arrested. The court heard that at Swansea Central Police Station the part-time gardener made an unsolicited comment to officers that smoke bombs were not harmful and add to the atmosphere of the game. Again, the prosecutor applied for a football banning order. Peckett, of Grove Lane, Timperley, Altrincham, Greater Manchester, pleaded guilty to possessing a firework or flare at a sporting event contrary to Sporting Events, Control of Alcohol etc. Act 1985. Solicitor Mr. Allchurch, for Peckett, said it had been the defendant's son who had taken the smoke bomb into the stadium. He said shortly before the final whistle Peckett had been handed the device and had stupidly pulled the cord to activate it. The solicitor said his client had been a football fan for more than 40 years, and had no previous football-related offences on his record. The deputy district judge said setting off a smoke bomb in a confined space could have caused distress to those in the vicinity, and posed a risk to others. Peckett was given a 12-month community order with 100 hours of unpaid work. He was ordered to pay £85 towards prosecution costs and an £85 victim surcharge, and was made the subject of a 3-year football banning order. The final defendant was Matthew William Swan. The court heard the 28-year-old had left the stadium to go to the toilet, and was then refused re-entry. He was arrested after urinating on a wall. Swan, of Cumberland Drive, Bowden, Trafford, pleaded guilty to being drunk and disorderly. The prosecutor said earlier in the day Swan had been throwing bottles, but had not been charged over that behavior. The district judge said he was not prepared to sentence without more information, and matters were adjourned to May 14. Swan was released on bail.